The morning sun stretched long shadows across the manicured lawns of Willow Creek Academy as students trickled in for another day. Luxury cars lined the circular drive, each sleeker and more expensive than the last. Children stepped out in designer backpacks and the latest smartwatches, their laughter ringing through the grand archways of the prestigious school. Among them, a quiet figure moved almost unnoticed against the backdrop of privilege. 12-year-old Maya Rodriguez kept her gaze, low as she entered through the side door, the one reserved for maintenance staff. Her uniform, though clean and carefully pressed, showed its age. The elbows were worn, and the hem had been let down more than once to match her growth. Her shoes, resoled twice already, still gleamed, polished each morning with care. Maya's mother, Maria Rodriguez, had worked as a janitor at Willow Creek for nearly a decade. Each evening, after the last bell, she'd sweep silently through its marble halls, emptying trash, mopping floors, scrubbing restrooms, all so her daughter could attend the elite academy on scholarship. "Education is your ticket out, mija," she'd remind Maya on their bus ride back to their small apartment across town. For Maya, the school was a land of contradictions. She excelled in her studies, often outshining students with private tutors since kindergarten. But she never forgot her place, the unspoken divide between kids like her and the sons and daughters of CEOs and politicians. Her one sanctuary was music. Tucked behind the auditorium in a forgotten storage closet, she found her escape, an old, discarded violin from before. The school upgraded its instruments. It had a crack in the body and worn-out strings, but to Maya it was beautiful. She spent months secretly fixing it, using lunch money to buy replacement parts. Every evening after her mother finished work and the halls emptied, Maya would slip into the closet and practice. With no formal lessons, she taught herself, watching YouTube tutorials on the library computers, studying music theory books during lunch. Her fingers grew calloused, her technique refined. She didn't mind the pain. When she played, the world melted away, along with the stares, the teasing, the feeling of not belonging. Then came the announcement. At morning assembly, Principal Hawthorne, a tall man with silver hair and a suit tailored to perfection, took the podium. "This year's Young Virtuosos competition is something special," he declared. "The winner will perform with the New Yorkville Youth Ensemble at Lincoln Center." Excitement rippled through the auditorium. Maya's heart pounded. This was what she'd dreamed of, though deep down she doubted if someone like her ever had a real shot. That night, as she helped her mother mop a classroom, Maya couldn't shake the thought. "You should enter," Maria said, noticing the faraway look in her daughter's eyes. "They'd never let me win, Mama. You know how it is." Maria stopped, took Maya's hands. "Since when do you let others decide what you're capable of?" From her pocket, she pulled a wrinkled sign-up form. "I took this from the bulletin board. You're entering. Show them what a Rodriguez can do." Audition day came too quickly. Maya stood outside the music wing, stomach in knots. Through the door, she heard a $15,000 cello ring out from a student's performance. A girl in a designer dress walked by, lugging a custom harp, her manicured nails glinting under the lights. Then Maya's name was called. She stepped inside, violin case clutched tight. 3 music teachers and a special guest judge sat at the table. At the center, Principal Hawthorne. He didn't bother hiding his smirk. "Ah, the janitor's daughter," he said with dripping condescension. "Didn't realize we were allowing extracurricular participants this year." A teacher shifted uneasily. "All students are welcome, Principal." He waved a dismissive hand. "By all means, let's see what our maintenance staff can offer the world of classical music." Maya's hands trembled as she unpacked her violin. Compared to the gleaming instruments of her peers, hers looked pitifully small and worn. She took a breath, closed her eyes, and played. What followed was not the screeching, clumsy sound they expected. The room filled with the rich, soaring tones of Tchaikovsky's violin concerto in D major. Maya's fingers danced over the strings, her bow flowing like an extension of her soul. The change was instant. Smirks vanished. One teacher dropped his pen. A harpist, mid-pack, froze in awe. Even Hawthorne's smug face flickered. The guest judge, a gray-haired man with sharp blue eyes, leaned forward, hands clasped. As Maya reached the concerto's most difficult passage, a single tear slid down his cheek. When the final note fell into silence, the room stood still. Then the judge stood abruptly, his chair scraping. "Who taught you to play like that?" he asked, voice thick. Maya lowered her violin. "No one, sir. I taught myself." The man, world-renowned, violinist Dmitri Vulov, turned sharply to Hawthorne. "This child is a once-in-a-generation talent. Why wasn't I told?" Hawthorne paled, adjusted his tie. "There's been a misunderstanding. Miss Rodriguez is disqualified. School policy requires approved instruments from our official vendor." Gasps echoed. Everyone knew the rule was fake. Last year, a student played a family heirloom without issue. Vulov's face turned red. "This is outrageous." But Hawthorne was already walking out, leaving behind silence, and a shattered girl gripping her violin. As Maya packed her case, she saw Ethan Whitmore III, star cellist, and one of her worst tormentors, hovering at the door, filming with his phone. Normally, that would terrify her. But today, she didn't care. She didn't know he'd recorded everything, from her stirring performance to Hawthorne's cruel dismissal. And with one tap, he was about to change everything. That night, Maya walked home clutching her case. Humiliation weighed heavy. The cracked sidewalks and flickering streetlights seemed to judge her for daring to dream. She relived the audition over and over, Hawthorne's smirk, the laughter from the doorway. At home, Maria sat waiting at the kitchen table, hope in her eyes. "Well, how did it go?" Maya couldn't speak. She just shook her head and set down the violin. Maria hugged her tight, her uniform still smelling faintly of disinfectant. "Their loss, Mija. Their loss." But the story didn't end there. Ethan posted the video before even leaving school. By midnight, a Justice for Maya was trending. By morning, it had gone viral. The clip showed everything: Maya's breathtaking performance, Vulov's praise, and Hawthorne's cold response. News outlets ran it. The New York Philharmonic tweeted, "Talent like Maya's belongs on our stage. Willow Creek Academy. Care to explain?" By the time Hawthorne arrived at school, protesters lined the gates. Flashbulbs went off. He locked himself in his office. Too late. The school board had been flooded. Investigations began. What they found was worse than anyone imagined. Dozens of emails, evidence Hawthorne had been embezzling music scholarship funds, siphoning money into administrative expenses, while denying instruments to low-income students. Then came the real shocker. In his private office, investigators opened a locked display case. Inside, a collection of rare violins. One matched the description of an instrument stolen 15 years ago. Its owner? A young Mexican musician once fired from Willow Creek. Maya's father. When reporters showed Maria the photo, her hands shook. "He always said it was lost when we moved back to Mexico," she whispered. The fallout was swift. Hawthorne, suspended, arrested. The board, desperate to save face, granted Maya a full scholarship, private lessons with Maestro Vulov included. But the real triumph came weeks later. At Lincoln Center, Maya took the stage, her father's violin in hand, playing the same concerto that changed everything. In the front row, Maria wept. In the shadows, a disgraced former principal watched, his legacy in ruins. And as the final note lingered in the air, Maya smiled. Not just for herself, but for every kid ever told they didn't belong.